Hi lovelies, this is Kelly from Crafty Kellys at www.craftykelly.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. I've been having a few technical issues, but hopefully I've got it sorted now. So last week I did some work for the lovely Tony Darrett from Stamps by Me, bringing you some gorgeous stamps from her Pretty Penny collection. There was 10 lovely stamps, large size with a coordinating dies. So I've got some of them beside me and the samples that I made. So we're just going to quickly go through them. And I have some unfinished demo packs that I had ready for the show that I didn't get a chance to do, so I thought we could put them together today. So let's hope you can stay with me and just go through the process. Anyway, thanks very much. I'll flip you around so you can see what I'm doing. So this was one of the actual stamps. It had this jar with the flowers coming out of it, but I've just used those lovely jars by themselves. A couple of sentiments and some of the adhesive kind of acrylic drops that Tony's brought us before. There was this stamp, which is the one sitting next to me. Gorgeous stamp. It's 2 stamps in one, so you can split them up, and then you have the coordinating dies as well. Let's grab what I've got next here. So this gorgeous flower. How fabulous is that, with coordinating dies? What I do love is it has all those, takes out all those little bits as well, which makes it really lovely to work with. And then this beautiful, massive sunflower stamp, which is fab. And I've used it just the one colour technique, using your inks and just blending that through. And it does have a coordinating die. For this example, I just wanted to do the one colour. So it was going to be flat. And then also what I managed to do on the show was this lovely peacock feather. Isn't it lovely? And I used a Distress Oxide ink. I think it was brushed cord, and just added these brush strokes in just to give the card something else. And then for the dots, I've just used some tonic drops, one of their shimmery ones. So what I have next to me is some of the ones that I didn't get to use. Now, I don't have samples of or demonstrations of these ones. I just didn't have the time to do all of them. But these daffodils are beautiful with that, also that coordinating die. The bride and groom, this showed really popular, and it sold out in the first show, so or pretty much sold out in the first show, so you may not have seen it in the second one. I believe it is back in stock on the Stamps by Me website if you like this one, but this seems to be really popular with people. And then we've got this kind of floral flourish frame, which was really lovely. Coordinating die, which does remove that centre part as well, so really lovely. So what I wanted to do is bring in some of my demo packs. So what I have here, and this is exactly how I come to the studio with. So I've got these lovely stamps and coordinating dies. What I have done is I have heat embossed in gold those actual images, and then I've gone with a lovely beautiful purple. I believe, let me look up at my stash again. Oh, I believe it's the brush cord as well, but this is just the normal distress ink, not the oxide. And I've created this lovely effect with the watercolour and spritzing, and then what I've done is I've then added that same colour to my beautiful leaves over the top. So I'm going to pop this together so you can see. I'm not going to do the watercolour elements because I don't have everything to hand today. I'm all packed up because I am back up to Peterborough tomorrow for some lovely work and shows with our lovely Linda Chapman and a new paper collection. So hopefully you can join me then for that. So I've got a purple. I believe the cardstock I'm using, this particular one, is from the core colour collection from Create and Craft itself. I just found that this colour particularly matched well with what I was doing. So I just used, for the splatter, I actually used one of the Distress Ink sprays. They're fabulous for that kind of thing. And I've got this lovely sentiment, which is a previous stamp collection from Tony. I think it was the Vintage Time or Timeless. So it was just really nice that I picked that out of. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in some foam pads. And we can start popping this up. What I do love is, like, these stamps have been really easy to work with. They die cut beautifully, so it makes working with things really nice and easy, with some lovely imagery that just works. Because for this particular one, I haven't gone for that kind of traditional autumn colours. I thought, all right, I'm going to go a bit out the box, and I went for purple. I normally go for blue, but as I'd done a card already in blue, I felt that I needed to change my colours up, but I didn't want to go autumn. So I've just mounted my sentiment onto a strip. I'm going to try and place that in the centre. And then my leaves, I'm just going to place one a little bit off there, and one a little bit just tucked under there. So because I haven't used too many foam pads, I can actually tuck my images underneath and still kind of work around it to get my composition right. So I like to, when I'm doing the shows, have one finished, so you can see that actually this was what I was going for. Here is the one that I would have built on the show. Here is the one that I had as my example. So there's one way of using these beautiful leaves, and our design team for Pretty Penny done just such a fabulous job at bringing some very different ideas. Now, next one I have, we've got this beautiful kind of what shall I call it? Feather flourish. And all I've done is a blending technique of blending two colours together. So I've gone for, it was Wild Honey and what blue did I use? Maybe Tumble Glass. I think it was Tumble Glass I used from Distress. So we can actually stamp that out if you want and actually do that process. So let me pop that to one side so you can actually see how I would have worked it. Let me grab my stamping platform. And I'll want my ink. Ooh. So what we'll do is I'm just going to open up my stamping tool, just place that card about there, and just pop this off. Now once again, this does have a coordinating die, but for this particular card I didn't use that element of it. Sorry, I'm just trying to move stuff out the way so I'm still in shot. Pop you over there for a sec. Okay, there we go. So let's just position this wrong way. Would help if I got it the right way. Just on, and it is on my example just slightly coming off, but let's just get it all on. There we go. I'm going to just close the lid, pick up that stamp. It's the beauty of having a stamping tool. It just does make things easier sometimes. There is definitely a place for blocks. I do still use blocks a lot, but actually for stuff like this it just makes room for error so much smaller, which is for us. I know it's only a bit of card, but you don't really want to waste too much card, do you? So I'm going to give that one more going over. And with a block I wouldn't be able to do that, so whatever stamping tool you use is you know, entirely up to you, and whatever works in your budget, because there are so many of them out there. I personally have quite a few stamping tools. Some I use for my classes, some I use personally, like this one. Some I've used from previous companies I worked with, and they're all fabulous and all do that amazing job. Right, I'm going to just pop that to one side and I'll give that a good clean later. Don't want to waste time doing that now. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a wiggle. Okay. Oh, ignore my smudge, my bad. But this is just the example of us going to blend. So I'm just going to bring in, I'm not sure if it was broken china or tumble glass I used, and I'm sure it was wild honey I used. So I'm just going to grab, oops, sorry about that, dropping stuff now. So I tend to keep my foam pads on the back of my Distress ink pads with just a little bit of what's it called, Velcro. So I'm just going to pick up some of this ink, and then I'm just going to start blending it through. So I try not to go too heavy to start with, because I want to try and not have too many of the marks of where the actual foam pad has gone. So when I go in, my actual sponge brayer is, or my sponge tool is at an angle, so I'm not flat down, because I don't want to create too many flat lines. If you do get like a circle mark, you can generally blend it out, but it might take some blending. What one should we go for? I'm gonna go for broken china. I'm not sure if it was broken china I used or if it was tumble glass, but we'll go for broken china now. Okay, so first things first, I've got a right mess there and I need to just mop that up slightly. Ooh, got a cloth next to me. And I need just a sprayer. Thing is, I don't want to then smudge the wrong colour in the wrong place, so I'm just going to tidy that up as I go. There we go. So let's pick up some of that and start working that colour. So it's a really lovely way to make kind of sunsets and beach scenes, kind of using like these two colours. They work really well together. And you know, any like blending tool that you use, like there are tons of them out there. I'm just going to bring my cloth in because I don't want to get too many fingerprints on it. There are some fabulous ones out there. Right, now I'm just going to kind of blend that in the centre. I even come back in and blend a bit more. There we go. So I've got a nice blend there. So let's pop that one over there and that one over there. So I'm just chucking everything to the side of my desk. So then in the end we have this, that same kind of technique. I do think maybe I used tumble glass, not broken china, but you know, whatever you've got in your stash will work. So I'm going to pop that one over to one side, and I'm just going to bring in the bits for the card now. So I kept this really simple, really easy, because I do think that sometimes it's nice to have those simpler cards, and especially if you do a lot of batch making, just using minimal things is more cost effective and quicker for you, because you could do a whole sheet of A4 stamping card and then cut it down to your requirements, and then cut it all out ready for your bases, for your kind of backgrounds, and then stamp onto it. So there are, you know, methods to madness and all that. So I'm just going to brush it down. If you're scared of getting stuff all over it, it's always worth, obviously if you've got a clean mat, turning the card over and rubbing it. Only because, you know, sometimes we have all gook and all over our hands. So I'm going to I've just brought in a little cut of vellum. To be honest, I don't really like it, so I'm going to leave it out of this one. It's funny how you make something and then you decide, no, that's not quite what I like. That's fine. That's artistic license, isn't it? Something like that. So I'll just pop this on. And I've just done a thank you. This is actually a small cutout of another one of Tony's stamps that I have in my stash, because prior to doing a bit of work for our lovely Tony, I am a massive fan of stamps by me and have a nice little collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of position it. I could go down the bottom here, I could go at the top here, I could go in the centre of this, which I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll go in the centre of there. And it's as simple as that. So I've just stamped that beautiful image, done a bit of an ombre of colour, and blended those colours, and that's just another way, or one way, of using this particular stamp. One more to go, and where did I put it? Do forgive me. Apologies, I found it. I have to keep everything in these little pouches because I'm just dreadful. I put stuff down and it disappears on me. So what I've got here is I've got this lovely image. Now, we saw this jar earlier that I used, which was really lovely, really fun. But for that particular card, I just used that jar, which was just, you know, a bit of fun. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the whole jar, and I've then just used watercolours. I've just used one of Tony's watercolour kits, which they're really fabulous. You can see those bright colours on my colour swatch. It's really lovely to use, and I love that it's actually quite diddy. I have one from Rare Earth, which is really good. So if you've got one of those, that's fab. But that one's really small and compact, and especially for travelling, it's fab. Now I have some spotted paper. This paper I actually got from one of Linda Chapman's 50 Shades of Colour, because I do her USBs for her. It was just like a different contrast, and I've used some of Linda Chapman's Woodstock. And this is kind of like it's like a mustardy yellow. I just thought it was really fun. So we're going to use those to kind of put our composition together with card, and then a sentiment, which is from one of the timeless, the vintage timeless collection. I may have that name wrong, apologies, but you can see that this die is fabulous, that it cuts out all of these bits, that, you know, it's not just that outer, it's all of it, and I love that. So let's now start constructing. So I'm just going to take it's a 5x7 card. I've run this through with an embossing folder. I think it was one of Tony's embossing folders too, actually, off the top of my head. And that is going to go on straight. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this on. Ooh, I'm going to need to get some more glue. I'll just fill this one back up. This is going to go on a slight wonk. I do like a bit of a wonk. Okay, so then all we need to do is, oh, and I forgot to do it. So I'm just going to quickly lift this up because my string was supposed to go underneath it and I forgot because I'm very forgetful, unfortunately. There we go. Perfect. So all we're going to do now is we're going to place this lovely image, which it is fabulous, about here, maybe just over just a tad more and a little bit up. Yeah, I'm going to take that twine and I'm just going to pull it through and over. We're just going to tie a little knot about there. So when tying like bows and stuff, sometimes it's worth tying yourself a little knot first, so then the string twine won't move around as much, and then tying your bow. And what I can do is I can then just fiddle with my bow, knowing that it's not going to come untied. Snip that down, happy with that side. And then all we need to do is bring in that sentiment, which is going to come down or a bit more up, down on this one. There we go. So there we have our lovely kind of daffodils in the jar. I've used an embossing folder and some paper. You can obviously create your own, and this is the one that it was my example. I've also added some of those nice kind of clear acrylic drops. They're really fun. I love those. So they are the three that I didn't get to. Let me turn it so you can see me again. So they were the three that I didn't get round to actually demonstrating on the show. What I will try to do this, I'll try and do this more often when I've got demo packs that I haven't quite got to, because otherwise they just sit there doing nothing. So I might as well do them. So hope you've enjoyed today, and I will see you all again very soon. This has been Kelly from Crafty Kelly. It's at www.craftykelly.co.uk. I've been showing you some lovely stamps from Pretty Penny, and I'll be back soon with some more. Bye now.